Willkommen zu unserem heutigen Webinar zu IBM Sales Performance Management. Mein Name ist Marc Philipp von der Valentik und mit mir dabei ist heute Pierre-Paul Artau, ein Kollege aus Belgien von der IBM, der sich seit Jahren mit dem Thema Sales Performance Management und Cognitive Compensation beschäftigt. Die heutige Agenda sieht vor, dass wir Ihnen einen kurzen Einblick geben in die Zusammenarbeit zwischen der Valentik und IBM und einmal darauf hinweisen, warum wir die IBM im Bereich ICM als strategischen Technologiepartner ausgewählt haben und unseren Kunden empfehlen. Danach gebe ich einen kurzen Einblick. 2, 3 Bausteine möchte ich Ihnen vorstellen. Was gehört denn eigentlich zu Sales Performance Management? Das ist insbesondere für die Personen interessant, die sich noch nicht so intensiv mit dem Thema beschäftigt haben. Und danach gehen wir in eine Live-Demo und schauen uns mit Hilfe von IBM ICM und Watson Analytics einmal an, was bedeutet denn eigentlich Cognitive Compensation am Fallbeispiel. Sie können uns zwischendurch gerne Fragen im Chat stellen. Sie können auch am Ende Fragen an uns stellen. Wir werden dann gemeinsam diese möglichst direkt beantworten. Sollte das einmal nicht möglich sein, können wir auch im Nachhinein nochmal im Detail über einzelne Punkte sprechen. Okay, heute geht es also um Cognitive Compensation und Watson Analytics. Dazu hole ich etwas aus und stelle einmal die Zusammenarbeit zwischen der IBM und Valentik vor und möchte da einen kurzen Einblick in unsere Organisation geben. Wir bei Valentik beraten unsere Kunden beim intelligenten Einsatz von Technologien. Wir implementieren sie für sie, wir bauen sie, konfigurieren sie und am Ende betreiben wir sie und stellen den Wissenstransfer in ihr Unternehmen sicher. Mit über 600 Experten bieten wir ganzheitliche Digitalisierungsstrategien und Softwarelösungen und gehören zu den am schnellsten wachsenden Beratungsgesellschaften am Markt. Wir suchen immer die Nähe zu unseren Kunden, wie man hier auf der Karte erkennen kann, und sind an 15 verschiedenen Standorten in Deutschland, Österreich und der Schweiz vertreten, sowie an weiteren internationalen Standorten. Sehr häufig greifen wir in unseren Projekten, beispielsweise im Bereich Incentive Compensation Management, auf marktführende Technologien und Lösungen der IBM zurück. Die Historie mit der IBM ist schon lang. Wir arbeiten seit über 10 Jahren erfolgreich zusammen und haben auch zahlreiche Sales Performance Management Projekte gemeinsam umgesetzt. Als erfolgreichster IBM Business Analytics Partner in Europa haben wir außerdem in den vergangenen Jahren zahlreiche IBM Awards gewonnen und die Zusammenarbeit kontinuierlich ausgebaut. Gut, warum setzen wir aber jetzt auf IBM Incentive Compensation Management und Sales Performance Management Lösungen? Dafür möchte ich mal einfach Gartner in diesem Fall zitieren und darauf verweisen, was denn eigentlich Referenzkunden der IBM über diese Lösung sagen. Sie beschreiben die Lösung als flexibel, zuverlässig, akkurat und insbesondere bei transaktionsintensiven Systemen bietet die IBM mit ihrer skalierbaren Cloud, aber auch On-Premise-Lösungen uns die beste Performance bei der Berechnung komplexer Incentive-Modelle. Die Skalierbarkeit ist enorm und bietet aufgrund kognitiver Elemente die Möglichkeit, mit dem System auch zu lernen und dementsprechend zu wachsen. Nun ein kurzer Ausflug zum Thema Sales Performance Management. Was gehört denn eigentlich dazu? Sales Performance Management besteht eigentlich im Wesentlichen aus 3 Säulen. Und zwar erstens die eigentliche Incentivierung, das Prozessmanagement, die Workflows dahinter, vom Target-Setting über das Scoring und die Berechnung der Auszahlung, über die Vertriebsgebiets- und Quotenverwaltung hin zu eigentlich einer kompletten Suite, die nicht nur die Berechnung abbildet und die Zuordnung zu Accounts, sondern auch den gesamten Planungsprozess und die Simulation beispielsweise von Quoten. Also ganzheitlich betrachtet geht es um die Incentives, um die Territories und Accounts und die ganze interne Quotenplanung. Das einmal ganz kurz hierzu. Damit möchte ich auch eigentlich gerne an Pierre-Paul übergeben. Ich denke, Pierre-Paul wird uns heute, er kommt aus Belgien, auf Englisch präsentieren und ich bitte da um Ihr Verständnis. Pierre-Paul, the stage will be yours soon, so I would like to make you the moderator now.
I thank you. Vielen Dank, Marc. Und ich soll in das Präsentation in Englisch machen, wenn mein Deutsch nicht sehr gut ist. I don't know if you are seeing my screen. I think so. So let me move to the presentation itself. So first of all, I would like to show you in practice what incentive and compensation management system can provide, and in particular the one that IBM and Valentic are proposing to you. I will do this presentation in 2 different steps. First steps, I will play a little bit as a salesperson within an organization. In this particular example, it will be a telecommunication organization. I will then play the role of the manager of this salesperson, and to see a little bit what kind of information we can make available for those person. I am sales, or I am a sales manager. On the second step, I will look a little bit more as an administrator or sales operation of that organization to ask me the questions about what could be the cost of my incentive plan towards my sales organization, if they achieve their goal or if they underachieve their goal. What are the tools that can help me in order to better use the information available to me in order to plan my incentive and compensation approach towards my guys. And the third approach of this presentation will be using a little bit more of the intelligence available to me using Watson Analytics. And let's see a little bit what Watson Analytics can provide us as additional information when we load information extracted from the ICM system into the Watson Analytics. But first, as I mentioned, let's play as a salesperson in this telco organization. And here I will use this login screen in order to reach different information available for me. The first screen will provide me a dashboard that provides me some basic information about my status, my current status. And what it tells me is that so far, month per month, I have earned some money. You see here from January to July, I have get some money according to the performance or the activity I have had. You have that in money, but that you have also the weighting of each of the components by type of a product or activity I've done. In this telco, I have some activation, I have some preload or reload information, the fee that I get, I have reload as I mentioned, I have first use, or I have invoicing. And I have even further detail below month by month by the different components. But a salesperson is keen to understand his environment by different elements. He would like to know the detail of his earning, and we can provide him some links to that. The second dimension, what is key to provide to a salesperson, is what are the plans against which he is paid, because that will influence his behavior on the market. If there is some element where he gets more money, probably the one that his boss would like to see him selling most, he will jump on that kind of activity more preferentially. The third dimension that is also important to provide to him is, well, given the plans that I have, what are the actions which has been credited to me in order to calculate my earnings? You understand that if you have these 3 elements of information available for a salesperson, he will be able to verify if everything that has been done has been correctly credited to him, that the plan has been corrected, applied to give his earning. If there is something missing, if there is an error, in his opinion, against that, well, he can easily document his complaint and to go to his management or whatever to load, to get the additional information. I make a pause because I see that my battery is low and I need some power. Okay, that will be fixed. Now you can also see that on this kind of dashboard, there is some facility. There are some facility to provide additional information. If you are in a sales organization, if you are in a sales organization, it's also good through one or other channel to provide some additional information about the product you are selling. And here I have proposed some which provide a link to other stuff available in this environment. And here you see I go to an IBM page. Now let's look in more detail about my earnings, for instance. And here I go to another report where you have more detail about what has been done for each of the components. And you see that there is some additional links. I will use one, and I could do it for any kind of component here, where I will provide me additional information about what I've earned in this current month, in this current year here. And I can, as you see, to the low elements of the compensation. Component by component. What we can provide as well, it's also useful, is to give you to give the possibility to a salesperson to anticipate what he will earn for in this example selling, for instance, 20 activation, and you have immediately an overview about its stages. He has a target of 130. So he will get a fee of €2 by activation, but he's very low in his attainment. So let's go the way around. He's doing 200 activation. Then you see that his fee is higher because the rules is explained in such a way, and he gets much more incentive. He gets even an accelerator because he overachieved his target. And finally, can make some sort to see which are the one which are reported. Should he has a complaint to say no, this one is not correct, it was not the right date or whatever, he can simply click on a button and start an inquiry process where the information related to the transaction that has been selected is already loaded, and he can say I'm not in agreement, or eventually provide additional information. Sorry for typing. Agreements. And he can submit it. And you see that we can trace any of the action which has been taken. You see it's not the first time that this person is claiming against some problem, and there is some inquiry which are remaining open for him. Now let's go and have a look on what's happened if I am his manager. Well, if I am the manager of this person, well, I will have some elements which will be very similar to what I've seen as a salesperson. The only difference is that the role is different, the objectives are different, the targets are different, so the way that the information is presented is a little bit different. It also provides information from his team. So here you see this guy, instead of having a target on a monthly base, he has a target on a quarterly base. So the measurement is still a little bit different. And we can have a view of its realization for the second quarter, for instance. But also he will have information about the salespeople reporting to him, and he can see which are the best one and which are the best performance given by those people. And here again, I will not go into the detail, but he can see which is the achievement for the different component, and he can see his plan in achievement. He can see everything he needs in order to understand his role. But what is also important is that he can have a look on the reporting to people reporting to him. so he can have exactly the same view as the one available for the salesperson. This means that in case of discussion, in case of review of his activity, both persons by phone or whatever can see exactly the same report. And this is due to the hierarchy that we can build into the environment to prepare this. You remember that we have started an inquiry where the salesperson was not in agreement with something, but you see that here the manager received an envelope, a message. If I click in his, you see that there is an inquiry that has been submitted by the person, and you see exactly the components of the content of this inquiry. At this stage, he can assign it to him, he can propose an answer, propose an attachment as an answer, he can escalate, or he can manage this situation. The good thing of this is that it remains within the incentive and compensation management environment, meaning that at any time we can see who is doing what has been done. There is a tracking, there is an historical tracking of all the action that has been taken around this situation. Okay, this closes a little bit the first part of my presentation, which show a little bit what we can do as a salesperson or as a manager in order to use the information. Of role. If I log in as the administration, you see that in fact the menu that is available to me is a little bit different. Here, the first panel allows me eventually to give, to review and to give some targets to the people, and here to the account manager. But this is not the purpose of what I would like to show you. I would like to show you this component, which is the post-pay commission projection. And what this gives us? Well, it gives us an overview of what the market of a special dealer will generate as total cost of commissioning for the activation part. So here you see that I have selected an account manager. I could select another one. And then I have all the reportee to this account manager, and I will select one dealer. Having selected this dealer, I've been loaded information concerning these dealers. What do I have available here? And here we are more in a pre-cognitive approach, meaning I will use the information available since a long period within the system in order to have some planning or to make me an opinion on what could be the yearly cost of this dealer for the activation of my product. So you see that in this column you have the forecast or the actual value. You remember in the reporting that we have seen that the reporting was going to the month of June, sorry. So here we have all the information of June, but these are actual, this is the real figures that has been reported for the previous months. For the upcoming months, it is more forecast that has been provided by the account manager that says that this guy, due to the discussion I have with him, I expected him to realize this number of activation. What you have as additional information, which is provided by the history of this person, is what is the minimum activation he did in the past years. So looking in the past, the lowest activation he did in September was 80. On the reverse, you have the maximum information he did in the past. And you can see that in the past, in the December past, was the 140 is the highest score he did. Well, then you have the targets, because each sales receive a target. So with those information, you will have a view of what could have been the value at the end of the year. So I could change a little bit here the forecast and say it will be only 125. I can change this one, and I can change 140. And I can have immediately a view of what will be the impact on my total year. So you have the value of the actual, and you have the value of the forecast given the figures that I have just put here. So this is a way that looking at the past, looking at some information that we collect to have a view of what could be the real figures or the real value or the projection, of the commission in the future. But this means that we are using always the same parameters, the same fee, for instance, for each of this approach. For the same fee, according to the value, this is a projection. Now we could ask us the way around. Let's imagine that the guy is realizing his target. What could be the impact if I change the fee? Let us simulate some change in the parameter and to see the impact that it can have on the final value. And here we can go no more in the web interface for end user, but in the web interface for the manager. So here what I will do is to look at some forecasts I've already built for you in this, and I have defined some new rates. So what I've done, I've used the rate tables which is available for me to store the rates that will be applicable for the different person, and I have changed some value. You can see that some value for the first year is 1. In fact, the fee is depending to the number of activation that the person is doing. The more he do, the more he gets. So we have different what we call tier. And you see that the tier are almost the same, at the exception that I changed some value, that I put a 1 into instead of a 2, and so on and so forth. So I come back here. Hold on. This is in my way. Okay. So you see that for some value, I changed a 2 to a 1, a 3, and so on and so forth, for the month 8 and for the month 9. So what I've done with that, I have asked the system to calculate, which has already done, to calculate the impact on that. Then I can have a look on the reporting. And that I can say, I will use the base information I have with the scenario which compare the new rate that I just changed. Using the calculation, let's have a look on the paid by scenario. And I would like to have a view for all the pays. And I can generate the report. Well, what you will see is that there is not a surprise. As I reduce the fee for the month of August, you have a decrease of fee to be paid. And as I increase the fee for the month of September, you have an increase. That's not a surprise. But it shows you a little bit how it works and the result that we can have. Here I've limited that in 2 months, but we could have done that more for different months. But let's have a look on the way around. I would like to have the same thing, but let's say for the month of August. What will be the impact, in this case, by different salesperson? And you see that for the same change, the impact for each of the participants is a little bit different. And I can do the same to the month of September. And here is the way around, and you can see also that according to the dealer, the impact that can be generated in his earnings is a little bit different. And that gives me, as well as an account manager or an administrator, the impact it has in total if I change the fee. So it's another way to use the data available and to see what is the impact of a change onto the the total commission that I have to pay. Now let's go in another way to look at data. So any data which is available in this environment can be used to make the report, as we have seen in the first part of this presentation, and can be used as well in a more intelligent way and exported to a system which is called Watson Analytics. So now let's have a look on Watson Analytics. Here, what you can see here, it's a dashboard. Relatively simple, I fully agree, on Watson Analytics, which represents an overview of the commissions that has been paid in total, month per month, for the different product and for the different dealers. So here you have a repartition of what has been paid for the dealers, dealer by dealer, and you see there is one that gets a little bit more than the other. Here you have a repartition which is given according to the products that we are selling. Here you have a repartition by country, and here finally you have a view between the total incentive and the invoice incentive paid. So this is the total incentive paid, and that is one of the components is the incentive based on the invoicing. What can we do with that? What we can play a little bit. We can select a product to see what is about my product. Well, you see that in total, the invoicing was 56,000 in total. But you can see the impact it has on the different country. So if I change, you see that all the figures are adapted according to the data I have available in my dashboard. I could do it in another way around. I can see what's happening here, and you can see all the figures are changing here in my table as well. So I can make a change here, and it combines all the information, all the selection I've done. Now I can deselect everything and say, okay, what is specific for France? Or what's specific for the Netherlands? Or what's specific for Belgium? So you see that using that tool, you can have this different way of looking at. But Watson Analytics provide other facility than just making this kind of dashboard. So let's go back on the top and let's use this, where is he? This one. It can provide other way to look at data. So, for instance, I have asked to generate some reports. Some are more explicit than other. If I have set, which is relation between total incentive, which you see in here, and by number of subscriber ID and months. So it gives me a view by month. So you see that here I have the months of which one was it? Sorry. The month 3, so March, you have the total incentive, which is repay, and the number of subscribers. Okay, that's an information. But I can have a split by product that we have used in the dashboard. But we could have another one, which is where, okay, what is the value by the different product and by month? Compare to products by country. And what Watson will do for me, first I need to sort of have good typing, otherwise compare by product by country. And then we translate that and different type of report it can have. And you see there is maybe one here that is better, that is closer to my request. I can click on it and it will transform that in a report. Here the idea is to say, okay, let's use some common language approach based on information which are available in order to provide some answer. And you see that, in fact, the table that has been loaded in order to do that is the information which are here below. So it's based on that information that, and the sentence I introduced in the request, that Watson Analytics proposed me this specific answer. Is it relevant or not? That's another question. We can ask other questions and go further into it. But the point here is that information available could be very, very detailed, can be used to have a better view on the data. And this closes the third part of my presentation. So I remember we start with some reporting as a sales, as a manager, with the possibility to have inquiry between the two. We had a view as an administrator that tried to find out what is the cost, potential cost of my sales network given the actuals and the forecast or changing the different rules. And then we have a view on a more accurate or more sophisticated way to look at the data using Watson Analytics. I thank you for the attention und ich gebe Sie wieder die Präsentation.
Ja, vielen Dank, Pierre-Paul.
Ja.
Okay, vielen Dank für diesen Einblick, Pierre-Paul. Spannend zu sehen, dass das Thema ja nicht nur die Berechnung von Incentives ist, sondern am Ende möchte ja wirklich die Organisation aus den Daten, die dort gesammelt werden, auch lernen, Erkenntnisse gewinnen und dann dementsprechend die Mitarbeiter coachen, aber auch schauen, wird eigentlich die Strategie richtig umgesetzt. Wenn an dieser Stelle Fragen sind, dann melden Sie sich gerne oder schreiben Sie dann noch bei uns in dem Chat. Bisher haben wir keine Fragen erhalten. Ansonsten möchte ich Sie darauf hinweisen, dass wir am 4. September wieder um 11 Uhr morgens das nächste Webinar für Sie halten werden. Und da möchten wir Ihnen zeigen, wie einfach es eigentlich ist, einen Sales Incentive Plan für Ihre Unternehmung from the scratch, also von der grünen Wiese an aufzubauen. Denn das ist kein Hexenwerk und mit Hilfe von IBM SPM auditierbarer und deutlich performanter, als wenn man dies mit Excel tut. Von daher freue ich mich, Sie wieder zu sprechen, wenn Sie wieder teilnehmen bei uns am 4. September und wünsche Ihnen bis dahin alles Gute. Auf Wiedersehen.